Hi folks, this is all the fruit. I'm in the nice town of Weinheim in Germany with its many beautiful parks and gardens. And the oldest and maybe it's not the most famous one, but definitely the oldest one is the Castle Park or the Castle Garden. Not a dedicated fruit park, but still it has a couple interesting things which you shouldn't miss if you were in Weinheim. Well, over there on the mini golf course, there is an ancient Japanese Sephora tree, not a fruit tree, but an old tree. If you are into old trees, then, well, actually, is it possible to get there? Well, maybe we can get closer. There is actually an ancient fruit tree right next to it. Here everywhere the ancient buxus trees. Well, this is an old castle park, so there are a lot of old things, which is very nice. I'm totally into that. Look at this gigantic Sephora tree. What was the English name again? Sephora japonica. It's in the Fabaceae, and this one is almost 3 meters thick. Really amazing. Well, the fruit are not edible. Maybe I'll try them someday for a video. I think I tried them a couple years ago, but they are not edible. Well, what is edible are the Celtis trees. What were they called? Heckberries. Yeah, Heckberry. This is Celtis occidentalis, a Heckberry from North America. And this is maybe the parent of the numerous feral plants growing everywhere around here. This must be over 100 years old. I think, like many other trees in this park, it's a protected tree. And yeah, the fruit are quite nice. Let's see, over there are a couple more Heckberry trees. Right now it's August, but there is something special about the Heckberry trees in this park. After very mild winters, I've actually eaten more or less ripe fruit in May. Here, this year I don't even know if it was planted or if it's feral. There are a couple ones which are definitely feral over there. Here we are, so close to the wall, nobody would plant them. And yeah, they have some ripe fruit, but yeah, which are too fresh to be from last year. So despite the quite harsh winter, they had some early fruit. This year maybe not in May, maybe in June or July. Quite typical for those early Heckberry fruit. They are pretty tasteless compared to the ones that ripen properly later. Well, as I said, lots of old trees. A lot of nice cedar trees here. Cedrus libani. Actually, this one should also have a sign that it's a monument. The one next to it, which is considerably smaller, has one. Here are the normal Heckberry fruit. Look, they are still completely green. But here are those which ripened in spring. Look, tons and tons of green Heckberry fruit. And a considerable amount of Heckberry fruit you can harvest here in spring. So it does it even after harsher winters. I don't come to Weinheim every year in spring, so I thought it does it only after mild winters, but no, try it after harsh winters. Here the Weinheim Castle, which is actually a maze of beautiful buildings and courtyards. This is just one of the buildings. Well, and all those cedar trees around here, there are lots of them in Weinheim. They're all children of this one. Biggest and oldest Cedrus libani in all of Germany. Gigantic. I think it's, what was it, 2.5 meters thick, or like, what is this? 8 feet or 9 feet thick. A gigantic tree. Look at how tiny the people are next to the branches. It's one of the main attractions of Weinheim. Yeah, when I was young, I was so stupid I climbed on one of those branches, but I didn't break anything. Well, let's look at it again from some distance. It's growing in this small courtyard, so it's quite hard to get to do it justice with the photo or with the video. It's so gigantic that it's basically quite difficult to photograph or film it from nearby, but if you do it from far away, it's just part of the green cluster in this park. Lots of old buxus trees here, buxus trees and lots of old buxus trees, yes, that's true. There are lots of them here. Also lots of old holly trees and lots of old yew trees. Maybe not old for British or French standards, they have a couple much older yew trees, but for German parks this is quite good. So this is the smaller part of the park. Here different viburnums, which have, some of them have edible fruit, some have toxic fruit. Well, let's get into the bigger part of the park where we can also find a couple quite interesting fruit trees. Here, by the way, as I said, the castle is a maze of buildings and courtyards. Here a glimpse into it. Let's see what we have here. A nice paper mulberry. The fruit are not ripe yet, and actually I don't see any fruit. No fruit on this one. Well, but a big party. Here old yew shrubs where children have been climbing probably for 100 years since Germany became democratic. Before that, I guess they would have been put in prison if they climbed trees in the castle courtyards. This should be a handkerchief tree, but of course it's too late for the handkerchiefs. They appear in spring and I don't see any fruit, so I'm not absolutely sure. Could also be some strange maple. In the background, a couple castles. Yeah, this here in the city is basically the palace, but there are a couple one defensible and one fake Disneyland castle on the mountains. More old yew trees, very few fruit on them. Here this one has a couple. The fruit are edible, but every other part, including the seed, is deadly. Actually, when Caesar conquered Gaul, tons of Gauls preferred to eat yew fruit with the seeds to die a fast death instead of becoming Roman slaves. So hands off the yew, folks. It is a nice fruit tree, but a very dangerous one. Lots and lots of old trees here in this park. The Ginkgo tree is well over 100 years old. Ginkgo is a fruit tree, but this is, like most planted in Germany, fortunately a male tree, so no fruit. Well, here we have a Ornamental Cherry. Here this must be some hazelnut variety, doesn't look like a wild hazelnut. A couple oaks, some of them quite interesting. Oak acorns are also edible, but nowadays they've fallen out of favor since we have a lot of nicer nuts and seeds to eat. Sugar maple, Acer Zaharinum. Well, here Eonimus. The fruit are nice, especially later when they get completely ripe, but don't eat them, they are toxic. This here is maybe the most interesting fruit tree of this park. It's a Diospiroslatos. Basically, for the last couple thousands of years in West Asia and the Mediterranean, there was a khaki relative, Diospiroslatos, which was very, well, there is a khaki relative, Diospiroslatos, which was very popular for thousands of years as a fruit tree. But since the fruit are just as big as cherries, they'll get about twice the size of those. It kind of got replaced by the East Asian Diospyros kaki. And it's a pity because most of the Diospiroslatos planted in German parks stays horrible. They are very astringent. This is actually the only tasty Diospiroslatos I've ever found in a German park. Normally you need harsh frost, or you need to wait till January till the fruit of Diospiroslatos in those parks are edible, but this here is edible already in autumn, like in October, November. The fruit of the other ones are incredibly astringent, but those here, nope. This is a good variety. If I would plant Diospiroslatos as a fruit tree in a German garden, I would plant the offspring of this tree. It does not have a lot of seeds in the fruit, maybe because there are not many partners for pollination, but wow, the shrubbery is very dense. Like 10-20 years ago it was less dense, and you could find a lot of young Diospyros trees in here. Don't see a single one right now, and I don't see, well, like I could squeeze in. Yeah, like 20 years ago there were lots of young Diospyros trees, lots of young seedlings from this tree growing here. So rare tasty Diospyros. The only other tasty Diospiroslatos I found in Europe was in Italy, in the Heckberry gardens. But this is the only tasty one in Germany. I guess this place got too dense, and not one of the seedling trees survived. What a pity. But the seeds of this tree seem to be fertile, because nope, not one single seedling tree survived. Well, anyway, the best Diospiroslatos I've ever seen in Germany. If you have fruit enthusiasts, this tree is enough reason to visit this park. Here the monk's pepper, fruits, flowers, leaves and everything. It does not just look like cannabis, it's actually also, it will also change you a lot by basically destroying your virility. It's the opposite of Viagra. So be careful when you use monk's pepper. That's the popular name, because it will make a monk out of you. It will take your ability to, Let's see what else we can find here. Well, Duchesnia indica, the horrible Indian strawberry, which is taking over everything from the native tasty strawberries. Pity, not a single. It seems like, well, maybe over there. Let's see if at least a single seedling from this Diospyros survived. There used to be a ton of them 20 years ago, and I always saw this as a proof that we could actually propagate this stuff. Nope. Everything is too dense now. Not a single one survived here. Maybe in other parts of the park we'll try and look for them while filming the remaining stuff here. Couple rarish chestnut species, couple roses with edible flowers and hips. Yeah, this one is flowering, edible flowers. This one is fruiting, edible rose hips. Another nice old Ornamental Cherry. If we got here, thought this is a cherry plum, but no, this is a red leaf, the purple leafed Ornamental Cherry. Here a Celtis, which should be a different species. I don't think this is Occidentalis. Over here, a big ancient oak tree, really beautiful. What do we have here? Oh, here hidden between the other trees is an ancient hawthorn tree, also with kind of edible fruit. What have we got here? A beech tree, also with kind of edible beech nuts. A nice big meadow. No, I don't see interesting fruit trees in this part. As I said, this is not a dedicated fruit park, but the Diospiros is extremely interesting because it's the tastiest Diospiroslatos I found in Germany. Here and there you can find interesting fruit trees, and if you are not only into fruit, you'll find a lot of nice old trees. This is some evergreen oak here, or semi-evergreen hybrid, I guess. Let's see, over there behind the lake there were a couple more fruits. I think today is the first day I'm making videos where I'm walking a lot with my new phone. So please tell me, folks, does it shake more or less than the old phone? Would really be interested to improve my videos a bit. In the old phone, a lot of people complained that it's shaking. They're even getting nauseous from my shaking the phone during such videos. So please tell me if it's better with this phone here. Well, over there behind the lake are a couple more interesting trees. I forgot the name of this Viburnum hybrid here, but it provides edible fruit in early spring, which is quite cool. There are not so many edible fruit in early spring in Germany. Here are a couple Poncirus trifoliato, Trifoliate Orange. Trifoliate because it has trifoliate deciduous leaves. Lots of fruit. They're a bit sour and very aromatic and very waxy, but the only citrus you can grow here in Germany without any problems. Oh, I forgot the name of this. I think it's an Araliaceae. I forgot the name. You don't see it too often in German parks. Some Ornamental Cherry. Another Ornamental Cherry. A German medlar, Mespilus germanica. An old fruit tree which has fallen out of favor, but I like it a lot. So much that I did my thesis on it. Well, here a fig tree. Not a common variety. I don't know the variety, but the leaves are a lot more strongly lobed than leaves of normal figs in Germany, and the fruit are considerably longer. Here a bladder nut. I don't think this is the European bladder nut. I think this is some other species, but bladder nut provides very good edible nuts. A little bit later in the year, it's too early now. In spring it provides very tasty edible flowers, some of the tastiest flowers I've ever eaten. And in autumn it provides nice edible nuts. So nice and edible that some people have started cultivating it as a nut tree. Last but not least, I want to check on the feral bees here. For years in this tower here, there was a feral beehive, and you could actually even see the beehive, the honeycombs, through a hole in the wall. But last winter was quite harsh, and so I think they didn't make it, because a beehive in a feral beehive in Germany, it's rare enough, but a beehive which is so open to the elements that you can actually see the honeycombs from outside. Okay, the bees did not make it. Let's go down there. I saw a couple more things. Oh, here, by the way, Rosa rugosa, a rose with really big rose hips. Well, those here are tiny. but they can be like 5 times the size, and they can be quite tasty. And since they are so big, like 5-6 times bigger than this one, there is a lot of flesh on them. But I haven't seen big ones for years. They were very much stressed by the dry years, by the last couple dry years, but this year was wet, but they seem still stressed. Yeah, what is this bladder nut? This could be the Japanese bladder nut. Yeah. Still far too early, or actually not just far too early. The seed. Oh no, this is actually already hard. Not far too early, far too small. This is definitely not the European bladder nut. This is some other species, which is of no value as a nut tree because the fruit are too small. Except if you are really hardcore into foraging or in a survival situation, those nuts are too small to be useful. Well, here, now this time really last but not least, a mulberry. This is some variety of the white mulberry, despite having black fruit, quite small fruit, not the best for foraging, but at least something edible. And here another rose species. I don't even know which one this is, but I'm gonna try the rose hips anyways. Nah, nothing special. The Rosa rugosa was better. So folks, this was a quick overview. Oh god, already over 20 minutes of the castle gardens in Weinheim in Germany. Stay tuned for a lot more fruit videos from the beautiful town of Weinheim. Come and visit Weinheim at its beautiful castle gardens, and don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe.